If anybody wants to debate, if you disagree with any of the topics on the board, more than welcome to hop in. How is everybody doing? Everybody doing good tonight? Oh, we might have a debate. Possibly.
Oh,
Oh,
Jamie,
no, it's
I know.
possibly.
Oh,
Oh,
Jamie,
no, it's
I know you're in here.
Kaylee.
You have 4 boxes, Travis.
Yeah, I got four. I want to try to get everybody spam this like quick as fuck. Like, everybody spam the likes and type in your favorite letter of the alphabet and hit send.
Um, okay. Jamie, I gotta yell at you. We did not discuss how we were going to give Travis a heart attack today.
Yeah, dear God. Jade, not sure what you're asking. If you could rephrase it. Everybody just keeps spamming. Spam the fuck out of like
Any
and
more about
comments.
the hearing on Trump's thingy on the 6th?
Is that what she's talking about? Has
Yeah.
everything heard anyone about the hearing? We had our last one last week in prime time. Hey, Patty. We had our last one last week in prime time. I don't know when the next one picks up again, though.
I changed my name to Leah because I'm trying to have less of my information out there.
Anybody at all want to hop in?
I got into a live with Bluntman today. Oh,
Don't
hell.
do that.
That's all I gotta say. We'll
Yeah,
discuss it in Discord later.
yeah, not here. Everybody mash the like button. We got 16. Let's see if we can get some people in here, get one or two debates in before it gets too freaking late. Just anyone who wants to debate.
Travis, it's already late, bro.
Do what?
It's already late.
Mm, it's 116 here.
It's 2:16. Oh, I'm trying to make sure there's no one who's spam reporting us. America flag rose to the honor of the military service members.
What?
W, I guess. No, I'm reading bios
Oh, okay.
to make sure like nobody's spam reporting you right now.
Yeah. Everybody keep spamming likes so we can see if we can get a few anywhere at 21.
Ooh, do you have personal? It's actually personalized gaming gear.
Hey guys, if anybody disagrees, send a guest request. I'll let you in. We can discuss 2A
So
reform, legal abortion, economy and gas prices, the 1/6 hearing, midterm elections, LGBTQIA plus rights. So if anybody has anything on that you disagree with,
I made
hop
a guy
in. Just
rich
keep
because of
spamming
abortions
like.
today.
Everybody spam
Anytime.
like. Who do we have in here?
Did you have any debates today, Travis?
No, I just gone just a little bit ago. I did not. I was talking to Carissa. We got
Ooh, did she
25
have
people in.
a debate today? We'll have to ask her about that later.
No, Carissa was not. She was at work. I guess 40 people.
Oh,
Anybody on the right that disagrees? Anybody on the right
we are we are
that would
trying to make this
disagree?
less of an echo chamber than anything.
Yeah, I'm
You
trying
and
to hold it
Dan
to just.
Carissa.
I'm holding it to just. What do you mean you and Dane Carissa? I'm trying to hold it where it's not a echo chamber or people get piled on. So if you disagree with any of these, just hop on in.
Thank you, Jamie. We did not. You and I got to talk about how we're gonna give Travis his next mini heart attack.
All right, 74 people,
So how we're
guys.
gonna.
Keep spamming. Anybody that is anti anything on this wall, hop in, doing debates, very civil.
Yeah, my anxiety's been bad today, so no yelling, I beg.
I still want to know what Jamie means by this. 81, keep
You
spamming. 81. Guys, if there's
any
anybody who disagrees, I'll look at the who's in here. Hey, Strange,
oh,
Patty,
woman.
Strange, Jamie.
You and Chris are for real though,
Nice.
Jamie. Betty.
Everybody keeps spamming like.
Yeah, I'm just
Everybody
checking the
keeps spamming
viewer
like and
list.
commenting.
Seaberg, you have 0 followers.
Yeah,
Pro
just keep
2A
just
information on
spam
state
like.
bills. What does that mean? Pro
What was the
2A,
comment?
Travis. What does that mean? Pro,
Oh,
no, their bios.
yeah, yeah. So pro Second Amendment reforms, reasonable ones, but still want to own.
Okay, that's all I'm hearing, right?
We're dropping again. Dang it! It's such a slow night for debates. Everybody spam. I don't really have to reset it.
Just
We got damn near
Beetlejuice. Someone's
100.
gonna be name. Just the Beetlejuice. Someone name. Okay, yeah,
We're so close to 100. Problem is,
true.
Smite and guest request. Who is it?
Does it show?
Nobody. Interesting. Okay,
We
guys, just
got
keep
four
spamming
probably
like.
like. So
54
the thing
people.
is, I'm running
Nobody wants
away
to
from
debate.
that little like
Jesus.
group now, and they're catching on to me running away from them.
Oh, they will.
Oh no, they are. Suckman called me out for running away from him. Because like, yep, I'm not trying to get doxxed
Strange. Why are you not
again.
interesting? What do you mean you're not interesting? I think you're super interesting.
I'm hitting for real. My fingers hurt.
Do I still have live access again? Hold on.
I got my appeal. I won my appeal.
Who should I be seeing that's in here that can't go live? Who are you talking about?
What are you saying that I am not interesting? Because you checked the box and you said, not interesting.
No, there was no. So there was nobody there was nobody in requests, and
Yeah.
all I had was people at the
Uh-huh.
bottom, which was
Uh-huh.
everybody that's a liberal, unless we know who. Let me see here. If we know who,
Damn, Travis,
Yeah,
that's
you
stone
said that when I was the
cold.
only one in the box.
Damn. Oh wait, pro life Gina, you are more than welcome to join if you want to. I would love to debate abortions,
Amy, I
respectfully.
didn't show anyone in there. Pro Life Gina, where's she at?
I'm hurt.
She's in viewers. No, we love you.
That's a low bro. That's a low blow, bro.
That was Travis. Don't associate with me
No,
with
no, no, no.
Travis.
What I was saying is there was nobody in guest request, so I had nobody there, and
Mm.
then there was nobody that I could invite because they're all pro-choice or pro our side.
No.
What
We
is?
love. We
Oh
check
yeah,
the viewer
what's that?
user list frequently,
What's her name
so we
again?
know.
Pro Life Gina. Okay, gonna
Gina.
invite
Oh,
her.
God.
Strange.
Inviting
If I
Pro
was
Life
you, I wouldn't
Gina.
let that slide personally.
Oh, here we go. We got Pro Life Gina coming in. It's awfully nice of them.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Strange. I wouldn't let that slide if I was you
I
Hey
was
personally.
just
Gina.
giving him a hard time. I don't really give a shit.
Oh, okay. Shit.
I'm just
Yeah,
fucking
you're
with you,
speaking
Trav. I
very
don't
low.
care. I
Can y'all
just
hear
felt
me?
hurt.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you. What's up?
Okay, y'all said y'all want to debate abortion, so here I am.
Fuck
All
you,
right.
Billy Jack.
Yes, sorry, we kind of called you up. We apologize on that.
Um, so what is your reason for being pro-life?
Well, basically, it's a life, it's a human life, science says so, and we don't have the right to unalive it.
Okay.
So
So do you believe it's alive all 9 months?
Do what?
Do you believe the fetus is alive all 9 months?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay, Travis, if you want to take over, or do I continue?
all right. So do you believe that life starts at conception?
Yes, I do. Although, I mean, whatever happens at conception doesn't really even matter because no one's getting abortions or anything. They don't even know they're
Well, no,
pregnant.
no. I'm just
So,
asking like if you believe that life begins at conception or not, or does it begin later?
no, at conception.
So why does the pro-life movement take a stance and a take that is exactly opposite of the U.S. Constitution?
Like, what do you mean?
The stance of life beginning at conception is against the Constitution for where rights begin.
Okay, so I mean, do you think the government's not what tells you that life begins or ends or whatever? That's
Gina,
not.
can you get closer to your
What?
mic, please?
Let me see if I can get
Um.
my ear in.
Yeah, you're good. So, yeah, you're good.
Mm. So, Travis, you going with U.S. Constitution that way? Okay, I'll go
Yeah,
with
I'm
the
gonna
brain
stick
dead
with
one.
that for. I'm gonna stick with that one for a minute.
I'm
You
not too
back?
worried about the Constitution stuff.
Okay, so here's my thing. Um, Constitutionally, who is granted rights in America by the Constitution, where you actually have rights?
Can y'all hear me any better?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, much better.
wonderful.
So, so in terms of it being or not being in the Constitution, we could look at where the Constitution declares rights for people. Do you know where those are and who they are?
The Constitution isn't what gives you rights.
And what's
Uh,
protects your rights, though?
It protects your rights, but it don't give you rights.
so where do rights come from?
It's inherent to our nature.
In what regard?
Hang on.
Because if I go back 70 years, you can't vote. I go a little bit further back, and the members of the BIPOC committee were owned by other people.
Right.
So
That's why
where do we get these inherent rights from them? Who grants them to us?
it's inherent to our nature because we have the ability to, be able to tell
Oh,
right from
not
wrong.
Prince. Sorry.
You're able to
Not
Do
what?
what?
Prince. No, sorry, I debated Prince earlier. He rage quit on us.
So sorry, user, go ahead. What were we saying about inherent rights?
Well, it's inherent to our nature. We have the ability to be able to tell right from wrong and have the moral values, and you know, um, that's part of what makes us human.
So then, with the Constitution saying that rights are protected here for anybody born or naturalized, you feel like
Hmm.
the Constitution is wrong in that regard.
Yes, I do.
And so, in what way would that be wrong?
Well, where was the Constitution in protecting, our right to vote or people of color?
I mean,
I mean,
true,
people
true.
use the Constitution to justify human rights violations, and
Would you be fine with tearing it up and starting it again? Being it's a quarter of a century old now, would you be cool with that?
I mean, I don't really get into the Constitution part of it very much. I don't know that much about it.
Okay,
Um,
so then, all right, so we'll leave Constitution out. Are you Do you feel like you should be required to give your resources to anybody else? Your bodily resources. Should you be required to do that in America?
what like to let's say, you know, the person next to me needs my blood, or
Yeah, your blood or
Mm-hmm.
your
Yeah,
kidney, whatever. Yeah. Do, do
your
you
kidney or
do you
something, yeah.
do you believe you
no,
should have to do that?
absolutely not.
Okay,
So
then
then, if
why
you don't
does
have to
a
do that,
woman...
why would you have to carry a fetus if you don't have to give somebody your bodily resources that's a grown, walking around, conscious, sentient being where a fetus isn't? That just seems kind of weird
Well,
to
okay,
me.
so there's a whole difference between saving a life and purposely ending one. We're not
So,
Okay,
required. We're not required to
so,
save
I,
anybody's life, okay? But
so,
nothing is
yeah,
wrong with
so,
not
like.
unless we want to. And
so,
that
all right.
should
Well,
be
yeah.
the
So,
case with
so you
pregnancy.
don't like the Constitution's personhood argument. Where do you think, just in your mind, like actual, real, true life begins is the way it's defined? And I can ask you this in a different way. If a person is brain dead is never coming back. That's it. They
Right.
put you on a
No brain waves,
machine.
no matter.
They'll
Right.
put you on a machine. It'll make your lungs work. It'll make your heart work. All that. So as of today, we define death as brain dead. Why can't we hold the same thing through in early stage pregnancies, where until about the 23rd or 24th week, the organs work in conjunction, the brain stem is attached to the brain.
Well,
It would seem to
because
me that before that, they would be just as bad as somebody who's a vegetable, to
no,
me.
because no, because there's a difference between when your brain has died and you're never going to come back again than your
Right.
brain developing.
So it could develop, it could not.
Well,
That's
Anything
been
yeah,
is
but
shown.
potential.
but you could die tomorrow. So I mean, we're all in a state of potentiality if you want to go with that route.
We could be, but what I don't understand is
Oh, we
what
just
is
got
it?
raided.
What is it that we did? Lovely. So for you, you value a fetus as much as a person, right? Personhood
Yeah.
according to the Constitution. So why can't we take out a health insurance policy on it?
I would be willing to say that. Well, actually, I'll tell you why. Why you can't is because there's going to be a lot of fraudulent people. You know,
Because it's not a human life yet.
it has nothing to do with whether it's a human or not. That's why child support doesn't start. You know,
Can you define human for me real quick?
Yeah.
it's a member of the Homo sapiens.
Okay. Is a
Oh,
to-
Sure.
is a yeah, I'm gonna let that just ignore it. Is a toddler a teenager?
No,
Is a teenager a young adult?
yeah. Well, I mean, depends on
I
what
mean,
part of the teenager.
like mid 20s, like adult age. Like is a teenager like an adult, like adult age?
Like, is a 15-year-old like an adult? No.
So these are stages of life, right? It's the evolution of life over time. So when
Correct.
we are taking something so insignificant and saying that it's like a baby or a life, it's a stage of development. It
It is a
cannot
stage of
live
development.
it cannot live on its own outside the womb. The earliest we had was baby Chris, and that was at 21 weeks. And that was
Okay.
one time. So anything before 21 weeks will not live outside the room, has no consciousness, has no sense of self worth, has no actual neuron activity, has no body activity.
no
Why is
heartbeat.
that so important?
Because it's the same entity. You were the same entity when you were a toddler. You're the same
It's okay,
entity
Arnie.
when you were a newborn. You're the same entity when you were a fetus. You're the same entity when you were an embryo.
No,
You know,
I think before you develop the organs to have cognitive reasoning skills, you're not really the kind of the same human. Like it's not the same thing.
you are. You're the same entity. You didn't. You just grew and developed.
Right, but it can't sustain itself on its own. It cannot sustain itself without forcing its will on somebody else, and I believe that is unfair.
Yeah.
Well, it's unfair to have this entity dependent on you, and then you find out that it's dependent on you, and then go and unalive it.
So, have
Do
you
you
heard
make
of the case
exceptions
of
for SA and
No,
health reasons?
Are you serious? You
Are
seriously
you
don't?
joking?
no, I'm not joking.
So you
Okay,
think
so
it's
why don't
okay?
you
No,
make
no, no.
except?
Wait. So you think it's
Hmm.
okay for a 10-year-old to get essayed by, say, a family member, and then you think she should be able to carry that child? A fucking 10-year-old.
Do I think that's okay? No.
Yes. Okay, but
Okay,
you just
so
said you didn't make exceptions for SSA. Am I correct?
You're correct. I don't make exceptions for SA.
that's a case of
However,
SA.
however, if a 10-year-old goes into a doctor's office and the doctor says, "You look, she's probably gonna not gonna be able to survive this pregnancy," that's gonna be under the health exceptions.
Oh man.
so. Hold on, back up for 1 second. The R word and essay thing is weird. I got to find a way to think about that. So we're talking about bodily resources, right? I was talking about that earlier, where
Yeah.
until about 21 weeks, this thing cannot live outside the mother. Can we agree to that framework? That's where the science tells us.
Okay.
Like if I took your fetus out of you at like 18 weeks, it's more than likely done. The earliest it was done was 21 weeks, and that was with baby Chris, and he even lived a year. So I'm going to go back it up and say at 20 weeks, could we agree, since the fetus can't live outside the womb, it doesn't have rights because it cannot be substantiated on its own?
Exactly.
So where under human rights does it say you have to be able to survive on your own?
All right, so I'm going to give you this as a is my answer. Are you familiar at all with the case McFall v. Shemp?
Yes.
Okay, so you already know that our U.S. government then disagrees with the stance you're taking.
No, because that, again, that's saving a life. The dude didn't die because his cousin wouldn't give him bone marrow. He didn't. I mean, he didn't die directly. He died because he had something where he required his bone marrow. Okay,
And is
so
is any individual in America under current law required to give up a bodily resource in salvation of another?
no,
No. So then, why does this like logic not go to pregnancy? Why does the logic not continue through?
because the pregnancy is you did the act in majority of the cases. You did the act
Travis,
that
can I speak?
brought this being into existence. It's
So,
already
Okay.
connected. It's
Travis,
already living
can
and
I?
growing and developing. So by you not giving up your resources at that point, you are directly unaliving it.
Okay,
but we can
so
do the same
you,
thing if you needed,
Travis,
like,
can I?
hold on, with McFall v. Shemp. Shemp intentionally unalived McFall.
No,
Intentionally.
no.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
By not
What
giving
was
him bodily resources.
no?
He was
What was wrong with the guy that he needed a bone marrow?
McFall
Well,
He
he
needed
needed
bone.
bone marrow
Hi,
transplant.
Travis.
right, he
Shemp was
needed for what?
legally
Hang on. What
allowed
was his wait? What was his condition?
bone marrow
Terminal
cancer.
bone marrow cancer.
That's what killed him.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
and if
Not
he had gotten the
but
bone marrow from McFall, it was McFall who was donating, right, Travis?
Shemp.
Oh, from Shimp, he would have survived.
I guess my question is this: like, so we already have a precedent in America where, like, let's say you had some weird disease, and I was the only blood donor in your area that could give it, and I can just say no and let you die. It's not against the law. So why can't we just remove a 6-week-old fetus and leave it on its own and let it live? Because we're already doing this to grown adults. It's got to make
because
sense all the way through. It's got a whole logic and consistent that nobody's required to give up their body for anybody
Not
else, even if the
really.
other person will die.
but you're already giving up your body.
You're
Okay,
not.
can I
So
answer your question?
I didn't
Do you
consent to
believe
it.
if you do okay, do you believe if you're doing the deed, you are consenting to pregnancy?
You're consenting to an outcome, yes.
Okay.
how can you consent to an
So if
outcome?
I'm
How do
essayed,
you
how
consent?
am I consenting?
Hold on, Kaylee.
Mhm.
How do you consent to an outcome?
Do you know that the action you're taking could lead to pregnancy?
It's possible, but there are
Yes.
people who use. There's people who use birth control. There's people who use IUDs.
IUD.
Right. Are any
So
of those 100%?
no. So let me ask you
No.
this: how can you consult to a risk and a bodily function?
Say that again.
How are you able to consent to a risk or a bodily function?
Well, pregnancy doesn't just magically appear. You do the act that you know. Let me ask you something. If you're standing in front of, you're a teacher and you're standing in front of a classroom full of students teaching them education on the subject,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of, what are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them that just pregnancy just magically burst into existence and you don't have to be responsible for it because you can just go down to
So
the nearest place and get an
so
abortion?
here's my argument with this because it seems to me to be a bit redundant. People aren't going to stop having sex. You can
Right.
say that, you can put that out there as a way to stop it.
FX
Sure, it absolutely
starters
would.
and then
But it's not going to happen. You know that, and I know that. It's not going to happen. And you
Right.
can say, don't do the deed, but we all know the reality. That's not what's going to happen.
Correct.
So now we've just gone back to unsafe and back alley, which I feel like is a really bad way to move.
Well, I don't know. Do you know what back alley abortions really was?
Yeah, it's
What?
ugly. Women die
What?
a lot during those. Back alley abortions were self mutilation, taking certain drugs and chemicals and ingesting them, drinking alcohol, hoping to get the baby to have a miscarriage.
You know
They're
why they
all
were called
back alley
back?
abortions
You know why they were called back alley abortions?
because they weren't legal.
What was the part? Where do they get the name from?
I'm lost on what you're asking me. We
she
know what
wants
they
to know
are.
where did the name back alley abortions come from?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because the women went to a clinic with a doctor. They went through the back door, which is usually in an alley, and had the abortions done there with a doctor.
So
Okay,
that is
can I ask
Illegally.
you
that's
something?
going to
After this,
continue, but there is going to be more. There is going to be more detrimental stuff. We've already seen like 4 or 5 stories since Roe was overturned of this stuff happening. So why in the world does something that isn't conscious, isn't sentient, has no grasp of
doesn't
right or
have pain
wrong,
receptors.
has no pain, has no central nervous system, doesn't have a fully developed heart, doesn't have a fully developed brain, why does that get so much more attention than McFall? McFall was already alive. He was over 40 years old.
Right.
Why are we taking away McFall's right to life and saying you don't have to do it, but then you want to take the same thing away, but just for something that may or may not ever develop into a human, may or may not pop out and grow up to be the next Ted Bundy? Why is there the energy behind this?
Because there's like 650,000 abortions happening a year or more.
Correct. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a, human rights violation. And if I see a human rights violation taking place, I'm going to speak up against it.
Are you okay
Okay,
with?
but isn't taking
Are
away
you okay?
somebody's bodily autonomy a human right violation?
Mm, it's not a bodily autonomy issue.
It absolutely is
Okay,
a bodily
but you are
autonomy
forcing
issue.
someone by banning abortions, which are you for banning abortions?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay, so then you are forcing someone to have a child, which is, first of all, you're not even paying for the childbirth or going through the pain and trauma of giving a child to this world. So why should
Okay.
someone have to go through that just because you said it's wrong?
And it's
Well,
also, by the
Your
way,
eyes,
pregnancy is
when
a
it's your
risk to the
opinion.
woman's life. Pregnancy is a risk to the
Yeah,
woman's
always
life as
is.
well.
Yes, I have HR negative blood, and with both of my pregnancies, I almost died because of the blood.
Okay,
And
but
since we have, hey, real quick,
pregnancy
since
is
we have
not.
all females in here, I just added Artemis. I think as a guy, my support is with my female sisters. Y'all seen my stance. I'm gonna let you all
Hmm.
talk. I'm just gonna kind of sit here and moderate. I'm glad we got 4 females now.
Yeah, no,
So
I
Artemis,
just like,
welcome
I
in.
have a question. Yeah, no, I just have like a general question, that's really confusing me. Gina, your logic doesn't make any sense at all on the fact that you don't make exceptions for SA, because if you cared about consent, then you would make exceptions for that. So I don't quite understand you basically saying that you opened your legs and allowed it to happen. That's a consent is what you're speaking on, and then you're not allowing for non-consensual acts to obtain an abortion. So your logic it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of at a crossroads where that is, but you know what? That's
It's
1% of
not the time to
abortions.
be on crossroads right now. This is a
It's
dire
actually not
situation.
one. So it's actually not 1%. I need to bring this up. So actually, if you look at the percentages, 3 to 4% of abortions are done on children. That is SA. They did not consent to that. So that number is higher than 1%. And we also know that SA is severely underreported.
Exactly.
Right, but pregnancy from them is probably, most women that are SA choose to keep their child.
No, they don't. There's no source on that.
No, they don't.
That's what I've read, but okay.
Can we get your source for that then?
Okay, I'm gonna say something real fast. I actually, my 15-year-old son, I got pregnant, essayed actually, and I had him out of that. I chose to choose him because back then I had a very bad influence of, oh, that I'm gonna go to hell, you're ending a life, blah 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 blah. But if I could have gone back and chose differently, I probably would have because I was really young. But I mean, don't get me wrong, my son is my life. But yes, it does happen.
I'm not disagreeing that
No, not you,
women that are
Artemis. I'm
essayed. Yeah,
not
no, I'm
you.
just saying that like a large portion of women do not.
Exactly.
Okay. Regardless, okay. So if we made exceptions for all SA, are y'all okay with banning all other abortions?
How would we prove it, Gina?
No. Why?
I mean, yes, that's a yes or no. Because if your answer is still going to be no, then let's discuss the
No.
the vast
I want
majority.
to. May I go with this to other guests? I just want to make sure because I'd like to go with this.
Go ahead. Feel free.
Yeah. So let's say that we do make an exception for SA. How do we go about proving that every single abortion a woman wants to obtain is through SA?
Well, for one thing, if a woman is R-worded and goes to calls the police out, they go to a hospital. There's a whole kit. She'd be given the Plan B pill, and
Okay, can I make 2 points there? They lose the kids. I've seen it personally done twice in America, and Plan B is always not effective.
right.
Also, we have a back order on our kits.
Yeah.
There are kits that have been sitting there for years. In fact, New York is famous for how many are sitting waiting to be tested. So let's say we do, yeah.
Also, my home state of
3v1
Kentucky,
actually.
my home state of Kentucky, my sister's a forensic biologist there for the Kentucky State Police. She is the only one in the entire state that does rape and violent crime. And in the state of Kentucky, she is 3,700 kits behind.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
Travis, does
It's
she like
awful.
need like money or something? Does she like need money to order those kits or something?
No, it's the state of Kentucky is a lot like the state I live in of Oklahoma, where it's a very red state. They spend all their money doing dumb shit like this, and then the real things that come down to like, can my sister test DNA kits and go testify? Nope, don't care. No overtime allowed. Sorry, not going to get done. This happens in the red states all the time. This doesn't happen in blue. It's only in red. And my sister's not even a liberal or a leftist like me. She's a conservative. But 3,700 R-word kits behind? Good grief. Tell me the states that are Republican care about women and Republican rights and all that shit. Like, they don't. They don't care. Like in Oklahoma, the day that Roe was overturned at 3:30, we outlawed it. And everybody says to me, well, you all get a vote. It's not get just kicked back to the states. You can vote on it.
Yeah, we didn't get a
we
vote
have
at
Travis, when
all.
you walk around in that jersey, let me know.
Did we have
When you walk around
did we have a vote in Oklahoma on whether or not we wanted this? Nope.
Did I get a vote in Texas? Nope.
Nope.
Did I
Definitely
get a
not.
vote?
And we should have, because abortion itself polls between 59 and 84% approval rating based on the study you looked at. The lowest is 59%. So I always have envisioned in a democracy, the majority wins. And I'm tired of the minority winning and telling the majority what to do. This is not a good country to live in if that's what's happening.
At the same time, y'all are the reason that Roe v. Wade was even overturned to begin with.
Explain
No,
that one to me.
I know what she's going to say, and I can already tell you, we could have codified it into law. That's what you're going to go to. We could have
Nope.
Wait a minute. What in the world is our problem with it getting overturned?
Because abortions were supposed, when Roe v. Wade first came out or whatever, went to court, it was supposed to have been safe, legal, and rare. It was supposed to have been for those needed cases. But y'all took it way too far. It went all the way up to birth. They were
No, it
talking
didn't
about
actually.
even
You didn't read.
Hold
You
on,
actually
hold on.
didn't read the case
Hold
at
up, hold
all.
up. Let
Real
Wolf talk.
quick.
Okay,
Hold on, real
sorry.
quick.
I've actually read the case on it and read what Linda Coffey's arguments were, because she's still alive, the lawyer that fought for this. So
And
I've actually read
also,
through this.
and also, abortions in 1973 were 1.56 million. They were 634,000 last year. Abortion has declined over time with Roe enacted. Further, Canada has no restrictions, and per capita has a grossly lower abortion rate than we do.
Okay, in Poland, it's illegal there, and they have like 1,000 a year. So,
And women are dying.
Do you have
you
a
know,
source for Poland having 1,000 a year, or do I have to look this up? Because I have a
yeah,
feeling if you're saying Poland, you're going to be wrong. The
you can look it
Western
up.
European nations are not that big of a nutbag on this. So Poland has a ban on abortions. Poland has a ban on abortions, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, Logan. I'm sorry, this.
You good?
Okay, I gotta mute.
So in
Just say
Poland,
yeah.
it's in cases of criminal act, which be grape, I word, or SA, or when the woman's health is at risk. Oklahoma has no grape, SA, or incest law in Oklahoma at all. That's pretty draconian.
Actually, I was just going to quickly add on. So even in the case of saving the mother's life, they still are not performing abortions. There have already been 2 women that have died from sepsis due to the fact that a fetal heartbeat was still detected, even though it was basically dying inside of the woman. They were literally like, we can't remove it. And 2 women have died of sepsis because of this.
Yep.
Okay, I mean,
And
that's not a
yeah.
majority of what happens.
So
Really?
do you
Okay,
believe?
can I
So hold on, real
tell
quick.
you
Do
something,
you
Philip? I just want to say
do you
something.
believe this? Do you believe this should have been kicked back to the states?
Do I believe it should have been kicked back to the states?
Yes.
I believe it should be illegal across the board, period.
Okay,
Wow.
but that's a personal belief. We're talking about the actual laws. Should this have been kicked back to the states or left protected federally?
Definitely not protected, no.
So not protected. So are you okay with child corn?
Absolutely not.
That's also not in the Constitution. So why can't we just have that being legal? It's not in the Constitution. They didn't talk about it. Why don't we let the states decide on that?
Because that's disgusting.
I agree.
That's your morals.
So is denying a
Okay,
woman
can
health
I
care.
say something? Yeah. Also that.
Yeah,
Gina?
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So you said you want to ban abortion completely, right?
Yes.
Hell no.
Okay, so what you are essentially forcing someone to carry a pregnancy to term for all 9 months. What are you doing for that mother that you're putting through that financial process, that mental process, and the homing process? What are you doing? Are you giving money? Are you doing adoption? Are you adopting? What are you doing to help that person? Because you are essentially forcing that person who wanted to go get an abortion, and now they can't because abortions are banned in half of the states in the United States.
Well, right now they're not really banned, but in any event, if they was to become banned across the board, then I think that women that needs help financially or whatever, I think that there should be more resources for that, financially and mentally or whatever.
But
So then
they
you would be
aren't right
you would
now,
be
and I
for
don't think there's
hold
going
on.
to be any anytime
Carnage.
soon.
So you would be for universal health care then, right?
Do what?
You would be for universal health care, right?
I'm not real, I'm not real sure of the whole universal health care, whether it benefits or not. I mean, I don't care either way, really.
You should.
So what
Yeah.
so here's the thing. Do you believe for a minute you should be forced to take a vaccine against your will?
No.
Okay,
Okay, so then why are you forcing a
you
woman? Why
hold
is
on,
that? Why is that?
hold on,
Why don't
hold
you
on.
think that? Yeah,
You
go ahead.
so you
Sorry.
just lost that. You just lost that right because Roe is 49 years old. The way
Hmm.
America works is you have case law that you build other cases on. HIPAA, which is your Privacy Act, and the Freedom Act, which is not to be forced to take any undue medical procedures you don't want, were predicated on Roe, and Roe is dead.
No,
So,
it was only for abortions
No,
that they banned it. All this other stuff is
no,
just
no,
propaganda.
no,
no,
hold on.
it's not.
Here's what I'll explain to you. You have Roe v. Wade in 1973, right? You
Hmm.
have
Yeah.
Roe.
Mhm.
Then you have
I understand Roe was based on other things too, on, you
no, no.
know,
It's
the
not what
No,
Roe
it's
was
not.
based on. It's what was based on Roe. So Roe
right,
was the basis for a lot of things like HIPAA, the Freedom Act, sodomy,
right, but
gay
not
LGBT
marriage. So
rights.
now you erode that away. Those things don't exist anymore. So could there be a chance that we have a federal vaccine mandate and you have no choice now because Roe's gone? Yeah, yeah, we
I seen
can.
that happening anyway.
Who's
I
mandating the
already seen.
vaccine? Who's mandating the vaccine?
To me, I mean, if you can't work at a certain job without being vaccinated and you've been there for years and they're
You
gonna
also can't
fire
work at
you,
you also can't work at a certain job if you don't pass a background check or random drug tests, things like that. What's the difference?
right?
I'm saying nationally. I'm
But
saying
this
nationally.
but this that
Nationally, if we rolled out a vaccine mandate because Roe is gone and because all the case law we built on bodily autonomy is now gone, you have no choice. You will take it. And
And
that's
that's
what's
up
really
to the
stupid.
employer.
that's already
Actually,
been in
can
the
I?
works
I just
though.
want to bring out something real quick because B. Travis might be familiar with this. B. Travis, are you familiar with actually during the 1920s, I believe, when the smallpox vaccination was implemented? We do have a case law on the books that the Supreme Court ruled on that actually states that you were to pay a fine if you refused to get a vaccination that was better for the public than your own individual rights. So we actually do have a case law on the books where we
We
have
do.
ruled in favor of the public health over the many over the few. So it's
Yeah,
not impossible.
that was Jacobson, Massachusetts. So here's what happens.
Yes.
The way American law works is a case gets brought before the Supreme Court. It finally reaches the highest court, and they interpret the Constitution. So you have a ruling. So now, based on this ruling, other lawyers can argue this ruling in their case. So the 14th is privacy. Hence how we got HIPAA. Hence how we got freedom. Hence how we got gay marriage. Hence how we got sodomy. This is now gone. So it's going to be, and this is going to be my opinion, you can disagree, y'all are going to be like the dog that caught the car. You're not going to know what to do with it. And the second something comes down, because there is no protection anymore because Roe is gone, you don't have a choice to complain. You wanted Roe gone. If they tell you that you will get a vaccine or they will garnish your wages by 75% every paycheck at a federal level, that's on you. You voted away the foundation that stopped that from happening. It's gone.
I don't see all that happening though.
Oh,
Uh,
It might happen though.
so I'll
Nobody
give you the
saw
big one.
abortions being taken away, but it
Clarence
happened.
Tom,
We've
Clarence
been
Thomas
fighting for
put
that for years.
Clarence Thomas put three in his opinion piece: sodomy, gay marriage, and contraceptives. Three cases he put in his opinion. Ted Cruz this weekend. I'm a financial
Yep.
planner. I was on CNBC.com. Ted Cruz came out, wants to abolish gay marriage.
yep.
This is a
Disgusting.
slippery slope to fascism, is where we're going. And y'all are cheering this on like it's
Oh
some
yeah.
sort of a win when you're not going to stop abortions. Abortions were higher when they were illegal. They've been coming down. They went from 1.5 million to 634,000, and that's not good enough. So they're still going to happen. But now you're on a very slippery slope to fascism because of the way they're interpreting these laws and the way the Supreme Court's ruling and undoing decades of its own precedent. 53 years of its own precedent just eradicated. I'm sorry, 49 years, eradicated, gone.
Can I ask you a question, Gina?
Sure.
Why don't you think the vaccine should be mandated? Mandated.
Because I don't see any benefits with it. I don't, they lied about it so many times. They kept changing their stories on it.
Because
Can
science
Um,
we get the
changes.
sources that they lied on it, please? And Travis, can you look up
Called
the sources for me,
science.
please?
God.
do what?
Can we get the sources that prove that they lied? Any sources that back that up, please?
Well, first it was you take the vaccine, you're not going to wind up in the hospital, and you're not going to get sick, and then
It's
it's
true. That's true.
but people did. So then they changed it to that. It just kept changing. One
I
thing
can
after
explain
another.
why. I can
Well,
explain why very easily.
Yeah.
I am a biologist. Allow me to explain it very easily to you. The reason that people continue to get sick with COVID after the vaccination is because the unvaccinated are continuing to create variants. If y'all would just get the freaking jab, we could stop this pandemic, but you won't. It is people who are unvaxxed that are causing the problem.
yeah, that's what you've been told, right?
No, this is basic biology. This is
So,
basic.
so in the world of science, let me just chip this in because my sister
It's a
taught me
jab.
this. In the world of science, you're looking for what's called peer reviewed. You want a group of people to do a study and then put it out there for another group of people who weren't involved in the study to look at all your data, your methodology, everything, and then it's called a peer reviewed study. That's what you want to go with. So right now, peer reviewed studies. If you are 12 to 34, you are 1.4 times more likely to get COVID compared to anybody who didn't have the vaccine. 3.1 times more likely to be hospitalized. So you are way more highly likely to have adverse effects without the vaccine than with. And the problem is, and this is the reason I took it, is because there are such things as what they call asymptomatic COVID, where you have it, you walk around, you don't get the effects, but you're breathing it. And then you're in line at the grocery store and it gets breathed onto an elderly person behind you who doesn't have the immune system, and you never meet them, never know about it, but they end up dead. That's why I got it. It's one of the safest vaccines ever produced. mRNA is the absolute future of medicine. Moderna, whose ticker symbol is mRNA, to buy their stock, which I own, is working on HIV cures and AIDS cures and cancer cures using mRNA. It's better than putting a dead version of the thing in you. It's extremely safe.
I hadn't seen that, but okay.
If you want my information, I got it off of the Washington State Department of Health, posted July 13th, 2022, on the national differences in hospitalization rates and death rates compared to those who do and don't have COVID. It's about 40 pages long if you want to read it. But, this thing is safe and effective. And did you vote? Let me ask you a weird question. Did you vote for Trump?
Yes.
Okay. So when you all say to me that we got the vaccine too fast, who started Operation Warp Speed to get the vaccine out? That was Trump.
It probably
Trump
was.
started Warp Speed. So for you all saying that it came out too quickly, why aren't you mad at him? Why are you mad at liberals and Biden? He did Warp Speed. He's the one that made it come out fast, not us.
I don't care who did it. I mean, that just because you vote for somebody don't mean you agree with everything they said. Trump is for the vaccine. I'm not. I mean, that has nothing to do with it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. The same question. Why should a woman give birth if she doesn't want to?
I mean, it is what it is. I don't think that what she wants at that particular time is the issue. I mean, you can't just go and
Isn't it her body?
if you can't justify unaliving your children for whatever reason a woman
They're not
wants.
children.
It's
They're
not
not
a life.
I'm talking about children. Then if you can't justify unaliving them for the same reasons that you would unalive a child in the womb, it doesn't make sense to me.
It's not a child.
Okay, so the difference
It's a
between a
zygote, then a
child
fetus.
and what is in the womb, it has rights, it's breathing, it has brain waves. And a fetus, it does not have brainwaves till 24 weeks, and it can survive on its own without depending on its mother.
And we have case law, like I explained earlier,
that's
that
all
backs
just
this
arbitrary. It's all just arbitrary lines.
It's not arbitrary lines at all.
It's
Like,
not.
it's not arbitrary.
It's
We are looking at the science
science.
of the earliest fetus that could live outside the womb on its own. If it's such a person or a child or a human, it can't live on its own. Did you know that fetuses meet the definition of a parasite almost to a T? If you are under 20 weeks or 21 weeks, there is no chance that thing lives on its own.
Let me ask you something.
None.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you
Yeah.
something.
sure.
Are you okay with abortions all through pregnancy?
Yep.
No. I am
Yes,
for the
Oh,
I am for the rule. I'm
medical.
for the rule that the Supreme Court had in place, which was first trimester protected, second trimester states options, third trimester only in the case of a woman's imminent danger or the death of the fetus. The most liberal state before Roe got overturned, the most liberal on the abortion laws, was New York at 24 weeks. Anything after that, the technical definition of abortion is to end pregnancy, which would mean they could go in and induce labor and it will live on its own at 36 or 40 weeks.
Correct.
So,
mhm.
under the law, the worst state for abortion, if you're a pro lifer, would have been New York at 24 weeks. There is nobody having an abortion in the sense that you're thinking of and unaliving the fetus after 24 weeks. After
Really?
24 weeks, it is allowed to be aborted, which means pregnancy terminated, and then it can live on its own and it can go to another caretaker.
Okay,
And New York
so
was the most liberal at 24 weeks. So don't say that like everybody's okay with abortions at like 8.5 months, because we're not. And that doesn't
so
happen.
I can name you a case right now that right off the top of my head, she was 28 weeks.
And where was this?
I'm not sure
What's the
what
citation for it?
I'm not sure what state, but the doctor was Leroy Carhart.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the name. I'm pretty sure he was actually charged for that.
No, she and she died. He has not been charged as of yet.
It's Leroy. Did you say Carhart?
Yes.
So he hasn't been charged for her dying from the abortion or performing it illegally after 24 weeks.
No, and she died. She died. She died from the abortion.
That's just really shocking to me that it was illegal in all 50 states to perform an abortion without medical necessity after 24 weeks. And then she also died and he hasn't been brought to charges.
As far as I know, he hasn't.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I think her name was like Christine Gill something, Gilbert maybe, or something like Gillian. I don't know, something like that.
Apparently he's being sued right now. So he's
And she
also
was,
so in civil case. So in civil law, he's definitely getting dragged for that. Yeah, for
and she's a Down.
malpractice.
She had Down
Yeah.
syndrome.
He's under federal indictment for doing that right now because it's illegal. Because the most that the Supreme Court allowed was 24 weeks, which New York had. If he did 28, which this is saying he did, he is on trial and will be found guilty. It's 24 weeks, period. Otherwise, it's life of the fetus, life of the mother.
Health. With the way that they
This guy,
defined a health
this guy's,
exception
this
can be
guy's
for
going to jail.
abortion on demand.
No, it can't.
Yes,
No,
it can.
we don't have. So,
Mental health. What about mental health?
Oh, mental health. I think that actually should be added to the clause because a lot of European countries take it into account due to the fact that women have to come off of medications that could be damaging to the child. In fact, today I had to go to a doctor and they're putting me on migraine medication. I can't obtain that medication until I give them a negative pregnancy test.
Okay, so
And I take epilepsy meds, and I would have to stop taking my anti-seizure meds.
so
And
you
also
think
with
that
my
abortion,
depression and anxiety meds, I would have to provide a negative a pregnancy test with my depression meds.
so you think
and
abortion's
also,
okay all 9 months for mental issues?
Not 9
this
months.
doesn't.
No,
Hold on.
It
No.
doesn't
Let
happen.
me
9
let me say
months.
this.
There's
Let me say this really.
never
Let me
an
say this
abortion
really
for
clearly.
9
Let me
months.
say
If
this
you can
really
provide
clearly.
me a case, I would love to hear it.
Really clearly. There is no case of an abortion done after 25 weeks in which it was, F it, I'm tired of it. 99% of Artemis, check me on this. 99% of abortions are performed within the first, 14,
It's
15 weeks.
93.7% are performed before 13 weeks. We're actually talking about a 1% when it comes to late
Yeah.
term abortions.
So
It's almost like
yeah,
we shouldn't talk about it if people don't want to talk
and
about the 1% of SA.
those
It's
are
like
always
literally
fetal.
0.00.
Yeah, those are fetal abnormalities. Like I read a story tonight. A friend tagged me in a video. A woman's in Arkansas found out at her 32nd week that her baby's brain never developed, the heart never developed, it will never live. She cannot remove it right now because that's Arkansas's law. She has to birth it out. So this woman has to keep
Oh
going.
God.
Like, but this is the extreme because the majority happen in very early term pregnancy. Y'all are arguing this thing as if states are out saying, hey, if you're like 3 days from being pregnant, you can just kill the thing. That doesn't happen.
That's
Ever. Never.
they will
It
induce
does not
labor.
happen. Like they induce
Um,
labor and you can give it up for adoption, or you can have a caregiver take care of it, but it can live on its own. You're arguing here like the most extreme situation that could possibly happen. Like, I don't know, I should never stop at red lights. I'm sorry, here, I'll make it personal for you. I've got this massive scar here from a car crash. So I guess I should never ever stop at two-way stops where cars could be coming from my left because of this one random thing that happened in the side curtain airbag broke my collarbone. That's dumb. Almost all abortions are performed in early stage. Nobody wakes up at 8 months and just goes, screw it. Let's go on and just get rid of it. Doesn't
Okay,
happen.
but if
That would be
a child is born alive, the abortion failed.
What do you mean? No, abortion. Hold on. I think we're confused here. The definition of abortion is ending a pregnancy. My sister had an abortion when my nephew was cesareaned because she didn't give birth. That's an
Let me
abortion.
ask you something. What's an
Termination of pregnancy.
What's an adverse event?
An adverse event,
Mm-hmm.
the like a reaction to something that you weren't expecting, like if you're expecting a completely like for instance, if I'm eating a burger, right, an adverse event of that would be me getting food poisoning.
Right. So under the I don't know about other states, but I know Texas under the health and safety code is listed after an abortion. If the child lives, it's an adverse event.
I haven't read that in our abortion. I mean, I haven't read that in any of our laws in Texas.
Look up Texas health and safety code on abortions.
Okay, but we're not adhering to the Texas Safe and Healthy Code because it was overridden by the trigger laws that were put back into place. So that's non-existent at this point.
It is existent.
Miranda, I love you, by the way. I just wanted to say that.
I mean, and also right now with the way the Texas legislature put out their agenda for 2022, I think looking for Texas for anything is really not a good idea.
True. Gina,
Yeah.
you said you don't make exceptions for SA. Why not?
Because it's still a life.
Okay, but your whole thing is that you consent to pregnancy is because what I've heard from your argument here is that you're consenting to pregnancy, so you have an obligation to continue on with that pregnancy, right? Am I the only one who heard this, or?
Yeah,
No,
so
that's the
you
first question I asked.
Okay.
So you can so what she's saying is you consented to the deed, so you consented to pregnancy. But what happens if you don't consent to the deed? You didn't consent to it.
I'm against abortions because it is ending a life unjustly.
Well, before 24 weeks, it is not a life. It doesn't have brainwaves nor rights, which in the US, that makes a human. Because if you do not have brainwaves in the US, you are legally dead, nor do you have rights. You are not given a person. You are not a person, it says in the US.
How much brainwaves does it need?
It needs brain activity.
It
What
actually
you need
needs
is
brain activity.
you need the brain, the brain
how much
stem,
brain
and the
activity?
organs to
Cognitive.
hold on.
Prefrontal
You need
cortex.
you need the brain activity to go with the brain, the brain stem, and the organs to function as one, to where you can finally develop consciousness, the ability to have pain, all of that, which is generally at the 21 to 24 week mark. Before that, there's nothing. There's nothing. It's like if you have a brain dead patient in a hospital, you can go over and cut their arm. They will never feel it. There's nothing left.
Okay, but feeling it doesn't necessarily make it okay.
If it has no feeling, then what?
So personhood in the U.S. starts there. I
How
don't
you know?
because that's what the Constitution says. That's how America works. The Constitution says personhood is born or naturalized. But you're out here
Mhm.
championing this thing that is going to do more harm than good. It's
Quit getting
49 years of case law. There's other case law that will get knocked down because of it. And it's something to cheer and be happy about. I don't get that. Like, I don't get how this is a win.
Who
It
said
is
get
a
her a
win.
cup of brainwaves? Y'all around. No, put it.
It
Like,
is
I
a win, but
don't.
you're drawing. Okay, let me ask you something. So,
Mhm.
let's say that a child is able to be viable and able to feel pain. You're not okay with abortions at that
They
point,
I'm
can't.
correct?
They
I'm
can't
not okay
before
with
24. They can't before
yeah
20 weeks. It's impossible.
yeah.
Before
I'm not
when?
good with it.
Before 20 weeks,
24
it's
weeks.
impossible.
But
And
abortions do happen after 20 weeks, correct?
Yes, and those in the 4 week mark, by the way, are part of that very small percentage and are usually due to medical issues that arise.
No, most places has abortions limit at 24 weeks for any reason.
Okay, you do realize
Source.
that's late second term. So the
Gina, can we
percentage
get your
of
source on
late,
that statement? No?
I don't care about the percentage.
okay,
Can we get your source on that statement?
Do what?
Can we get your source on that statement you just made?
You look at most of the laws says 24-week is
Can
the
I get
cutoff.
a medical
doesn't mean it's
journal or a
happening
website or
Because it's
are
statistics
you
not.
saying
stating that backs
are
up
you
your
saying
point?
are you
That's
saying most states do 24 weeks?
there's
Is
a
that what you're
lot of
saying?
states their cutoff is 24 weeks for any reason.
well, actually, all states that was the cutoff before Roe versus Wade was overturned.
Okay.
So
So you're saying that they can start feeling pain and stuff at 20 weeks, but there's 4 weeks there that
So we give leeway. We give leeway, and I'll explain. It's because we know that fetuses can develop at different state, like can develop a little bit faster or a little bit slower. The actual general consensus is that prefrontal cortex and those pain nerve endings don't connect until between 24 and 28 weeks. So us
So
giving it, we give a generous leeway with that
and
space there.
where would you
Have
say
a small
these
piece.
late term abortions are legal? Like what states are they legal in? Like the most red or the most blue?
um I don't know. I don't even know which states are blue or which states are red. I don't pay attention to all that really.
But you said you voted for Trump, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So of the states that have the most late term abortions, Alabama red, Alaska red, Arizona red, Arkansas red, California blue, Colorado blue, Connecticut blue, Delaware blue, Florida red, Georgia red, Idaho red, Indiana
That's slow
red,
as fucking.
Iowa red, Kansas red, Kentucky red, Louisiana red, Maine blue, Maryland blue, Massachusetts blue. Like I mean, the bottom to find any blue states. The most late term abortions are allowed in the most reddest of red states before Roe got overturned.
I know California um,
Are you about
is
to bring up the coroner law? Are you literally about to bring up the law that was for codifying coroner reports?
More than likely.
no,
I
No,
would
I
the
not
one where it said
recommend
up to
it.
28 days after birth, that one?
no,
Darling, come here.
no.
She brought that got brought up earlier. Hold on. I'm trying to
Oh,
find
okay. It's
California.
a different
I'm
one.
still scrolling. I got to find California. Hold on. I'm still scrolling. Still
But
scrolling.
California don't even have to report their abortion, so no telling what goes on there.
There are other red states that don't have to either. There's actually 4 different states that
Well,
don't
none of them
report.
have to. None of them have to.
Oh, I gotta get mine.
But California is one of the one of the highest
California.
abortion rates.
No, hold on. California is less than Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, and Arkansas. Then California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware. Then we go to Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Mom said Kentucky, Louisiana, all red states. These states with the most abortion are Republican states. You all are the worst. You are the worst for abortion. Like you are the worst for everything. Like you're the worst for abortion. You are the worst for gun crime and violence. You're
Yes.
the worst for welfare states because of the top 10
And actually, what if
most
your own
needy
is
on
a
federal
Democrat?
government. are 9 of the top 10 are Republican states. Like, that's the problem. Like, I'm in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's the problem. Conservatives are the problem in terms of abortion. Conservatives are the problem in terms of gun violence. This is
I
true.
actually have a question, if you don't
Conservatives
mind me
are
asking, because I came across this information while in another debate. So we talk about how women would have to come off of medication, but we also don't talk about women or uterine bearers that might be drug addicts.
Mhm.
Do you believe that we should have that on the books, that they should be criminalized for taking drugs while pregnant?
If if it damages a child, yes.
Well, yeah, if they're a heroin addict and stuff like that. So, like, do you believe we should criminalize them and not give them treatment?
Oh no, I think that they need treatment too.
They need treatment too. Okay. So, like, do you think that maybe we should pass laws on that before we, like, ban abortion, or perhaps don't have things set in place, that we should make sure that we have, like, laws or programs in place?
Not before we ban abortion, no.
Okay. So, are you aware that in the United States of America, only 3 states criminalize for using drugs while pregnant? Only 3. Every other state has varying degrees of support or help, but women are not criminalized for being on drugs.
Okay, and they should
You
be.
could be a total heroin addict and be pregnant all 9 months and give birth, and you will not be charged.
And I think here's our problem. We're going to have more death. If the Republican community, if people are like the Trump supporting fans, the conservatives, I'm not saying Republican, but you sound conservative, are truly pro-life, then I would expect there to be more pro-life initiatives by you all. Because where I feel like it is it's pro-birth until then, and then it's, okay, figure it out, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You all are against universal health care. You're against paid maternity and paternity leave. Republicans voted against the formula bill the other day. The red states are the worst at this stuff, and you all sit here like in this weird bubble and project it onto us. We are not the worst. The blue states are the best financially. They are the best in crime rates. They are the lowest in abortion rates. And you all are always yelling at the blue states. This data is empirical and does exist. I don't understand. I am so lost.
I'd have to look at all that because I don't know. I don't have a computer in front of me right now, but
Okay,
Gina,
so
do you
this
have
one,
a
this one is
daughter
under,
or a child?
hold on real quick.
Final
This is under
question.
World Population Review has got the abortion rates. World Population Review has that. There was a study done over 30 years in Cali. I don't know if you know this or not, but if you take Cali off the U.S., it's the 5th largest economy in the world, ahead of England and Germany. They broke it up into red and blue counties, and this guy did a 30-year study of crime per 100,000 people, gun crime, per 100,000 people between red and blue counties. Red was 5.8, blue was 5.2. Then they did white people in Republican counties versus people of color and Democratic, and they exactly flipped, 5.4 to 5.2. Then he went further and said white on white in Republican versus POC on POC in Democrat, and it was 5.8 to 2.9. So the things Republicans go, and by the way, that is the Center for Criminal and Civil Justice. The author was Mike Males.
okay.
A literal Republican county, if you're white in California, you have almost 2x the odds of being gunned down by a homicide than you do being a person of color in a person of color's district. This is a Republican white problem, and I don't know how you all fail to see this. That's what bothers me. Like, between that, the abortion rates, the state welfare rates, like, the worst are Republican states. Every time. They're the worst.
I
I just
disagree.
wanted to let you know, also in Texas, although a lot of states are actually stepping up and extending Medicare for a year after a woman has given birth to help with the support, due to the fact that now
Hold on.
we're
What do you
forcing
mean?
them to carry.
What do you mean
Texas
you
has not.
disagree? Why
I
do
was
you
going to say Texas has not
disagree
done
with
that.
a study?
Do what?
You
I
dis
haven't seen
you
the
di-
study. I disagree with what you're saying, but I haven't seen this study. But I
right.
will
So
look at it. I will look at
yeah,
it.
Center on Juvenile. So in my link tree, in this profile, in my link tree, is the link to the 30-year study I just gave you. I've got that in there. I also have the World Population Review, homicides per capita by state. We're going to go in reverse order. And this is, when I say these numbers, it's per capita. Montana, 19.3, tied with Arkansas, 19.3, South Carolina, 19.9, Missouri, 20.6, Louisiana, 22.2 or 22.1, Alabama, 22.2, New Mexico, 22.3, Wyoming also tied 22.3, Mississippi, 24.2, and Alaska, 24.4. Only one state in there of all those, New Mexico, is blue. Of the 9 worst states to live in for homicide per capita, all 9 got an F from the Brady Foundation. All of them. Now going from 10th to 1st, Iowa 9.0 purple, Nebraska 8.3 red. Here come the rest of them. They're all blue. Minnesota 8.2, California 7.9, New Jersey 5.3, Connecticut 5.1, Rhode Island 3.9, New York 3.7, Massachusetts 3.7, Hawaii 2.5. Other than Minnesota, the other 7 blue states get an A from the Brady Foundation. That study is also linked in my link tree. This is a red state problem. Red state people have more abortions. They have more homicide rates. They have more unaliving rates. They have more mass shootings. It's the Republicans' problem. And you can click on any of these in my link tree. They're sitting right here under link tree, and you can read any of these studies, and they're all peer reviewed.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
And yet it's always the Republicans telling us that it's the libs are the problem. It's the Republicans holding us back.
Gina,
That's
can
the
I ask you?
problem.
You should try this. Gina, can I ask you
Sorry,
a question?
Sure.
Yeah, don't stress it. No, Travis, you were. Gina, can I ask you a question? You don't have to answer if you're not comfortable.
Yeah, go
But
ahead.
do you have a child?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then you know the process of going through birth, going through pregnancy, and stuff like that. My thing
Yes.
is, why would you force someone to do that if they don't? Like, your argument is it's a life. Yes, I understand that. But if someone doesn't want to do it, you should not force someone to do something they don't want to do. And
Well,
then not do anything for them.
I advocate for them to get help if they need it. You know,
They
I mean,
need it.
I don't have a problem with that. Not all of them, you know, but
Yes, they do. That's the leading cause. That's what the financial issues is the main reason why women obtain abortions.
well, I understand that. But I'm just saying that's not the only, reason. Some women do it just because. But
Can you show me sources on that?
That's not
Do it.
true.
Yeah, some women do it because they
what
don't.
percentage of hold on, what percentage of women when they go in to have an abortion and they are doing the checklist they fill out, what percentage of women check mark the box just because I want to, which isn't even an option to check? How many do you think that is?
Well, when I say just because they want to, it's more like, because they don't want their body to change or,
They don't want to be pregnant.
How many
They
how many
don't
women
want
have
kids.
hold on. How many women
They
have
don't want
checked
their
don't want
body.
my body how many women have checked don't want my body to change because that's not on the survey? Like, you're coming up with these things that like aren't based in reality, which is frustrating. Like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying, like, it's frustrating when like I'm sitting here reading studies, telling you where they are linked to my profile, that they're peer reviewed, I know who wrote them, and you're saying things like convenience and because they want to, which aren't even options when you get an abortion, or things to check for why you got it. Like, where does that data come from? Like, where do you get these things? Is this like a Fox News talking point? Is it a buddy on
No.
Facebook? Like, I have no idea where this stuff comes from when those aren't on the form as options to check for why you had an abortion. They're not even there.
No. Like, that would probably be under one of the reasons of other or something. But most women, or not most, I'm sorry. Most women get it because, they can't afford to have a child, or they're having relationship issues, or the list goes on and on and on. There's many reasons that women goes and gets them, and not all of them are good reasons. And y'all think that
what would be a good reason for you?
Drop and come back up real quick.
a good reason, other than a health issue, really there is none.
Then why are you bringing them up then?
But y'all think that, having abortions legal is empowering women when really it's not, because you're being told that women don't have their bodily autonomy unless their abortion's legal, or women can't do all the things that they want to do unless they can have an abortion. And that's really kind
Hold
of
on.
degrading
Okay.
us.
Okay.
Well,
Can I
now we're
please?
being forced to have kids.
Yeah, you all do this.
Now I'm mad. Now I'm mad. I don't have
Yeah.
bodily autonomy even when it's not involving abortion. I have been fighting for a hysterectomy for 8 years. I thought I found a
Have
doctor
kids.
that would work with me, and they denied it after gaslighting me for 2 months. I don't even have the right to dictate my own freaking body when it doesn't even deal with a child.
And I don't agree with that.
Okay, but you're not doing anything about it.
I think
Just say
that
there's
if a woman wants a tubal, she should be able to get it. Now, I do understand why some doctors are probably hesitant to do so,
There's no
because
reason to be hesitant. There's absolutely no reason.
it's an invasive surgery, and
So is pregnancy.
yeah, but pregnancy
But
is
Gina,
not.
let me ask you
It's
something.
what?
Have you listened or agreed with any of the stuff we said about pro-choice or being pro-choice here?
I
And took
understand where
it
you're.
into
you
account?
don't, though.
I understand where you're
You
coming from.
don't.
I don't
You
agree with them
don't.
though.
You don't understand that we are having our rights to our body taken away and violated without us wanting it to be. And abortion is that fix. It's that way. We don't want to have an abortion. We don't want to do this, but we have no other choice because of financial reasons, or if we were essayed or incest. And you don't make an
Okay.
exception for essay, which I possibly don't know how you cannot. Because your whole thing is, if you are consenting to pregnancy, if you're consenting to sex, you are consenting to pregnancy, right? But then with SA, we give you a reason, and you're saying it's a life, which before 20 weeks, it is not a life. It does not have pain receptors. It has no rights, and it has no brain activity.
And also, Gina, just so you know, as of 2020, here's how great we are, and this is how safe pregnancy is in America. Out of 109 sovereign nations, we rank 57th in maternal mortality rate. We're banging that one up. So, yeah, they're super safe. We're 57th out of 109.
Okay.
We are over half the worst on maternal mortality rates in this country. So obviously, when Artemis and Kaylee and people like that talk to you about how many women die because of this stuff and how we've overturned it, this is pre-Roe how bad our maternal mortality rate is. It's going to get worse. So if you're pro-life, ending Roe is not pro-life. It's anti-life because this number is only going to get worse. Like literally, here's what's crazy. Saudi
Really,
Arabia,
it's just
Turkey.
pre-life when you think about it.
Saudi Arabia. All right, hold on. Let's start with the one right above us. Moldova, Oman, Romania, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Turkmenistan, Uruguay, Russia, Iran, Albania, Bahrain, Chile, Kuwait, Hungary. These all have better maternal mortality rates than we do. Taiwan, Kazakhstan. We can't do better than, let's say, Estonia at rank 38. We can't do better than Estonia.
So how do they calculate the maternal mortality rates?
Women who die during childbirth.
No.
Yes, and yeah. I wish they would include complications after childbirth because that number would be higher.
No.
Yeah, there's nothing after. It's just deaths during childbirth. That's all
No,
this
it's
study
up.
is looking at.
It's up to a year
I
after childbirth.
I'll be right back.
That is not the study I am looking at. I am looking at a study that does it only at birth or only during childbirth, which is from the WHO. They are only including women who die in the act of childbirth. The best is Belarus, then Portland, then Italy, Norway, Greece, Israel, Finland, Czech Republic,
Okay,
the UAE, Spain, Sweden. We are 57th. So
how
we
many
are
women die a
already.
year in childbirth?
I can pull it up. Hold on.
I believe in
Also,
2019 it was 700.
Also, Gina, do you make an exception, which you probably don't, but I don't know. Do you make an exception if someone is in a domestic abusive relationship?
No.
Wolfie, do you wanna or
Yeah. Do you actually know the number one cause of pregnant women being unalived?
Yeah.
Yeah, murdered by their spouse.
I know.
Yeah, and you're like okay with that. That's like really disgusting.
And you just
No,
say like,
yeah,
yeah, okay,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
okay with that.
essentially saying that the mother's the baby life, the baby's or whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna call it baby in this for instance, the baby's life is more important than the mother's.
That is not at all what I'm saying.
Then I must have misunderstood that. Yeah, I know.
What?
Well, I
Isn't it
do
though?
know,
Because
but
you're denying a woman an abortion, knowing she could be possibly unalived, therefore saying that her life is she who is a member of society who works a job and probably pays their bills and does taxes, a person who is living, walking around, breathing, doing their thing, living a life,
So
is more and less important than something that isn't breathing, doesn't have brain activity, doesn't have rights even.
you
so
act like because it doesn't have all these things. I want to know where it says to be a human being.
in the Constitution,
It says born.
In the U.S. Constitution.
born or naturalized,
So
born
you
or
think the
naturalized.
Constitution is what gives you rights? We've already been over this. The
That's what the
Constitution
Supreme Court
doesn't.
ruled on. That's literally what the Supreme Court just
That's
ruled on. Did you
The
miss the
con-
whole Roe versus Wade argument?
the Constitution is not what gives you rights.
yeah, but the Supreme Court said it does. So we're going off what the Supreme Court said. Even
So
though
all
it
this
protects
was.
your rights.
So
Protects
so
them, not
Gina,
gives them.
here's what the Supreme Court does. So
No,
the
maybe
Supreme
we should
Court
go tell
doesn't
the
set
Supreme Court
laws.
that.
Okay,
No.
the Supreme Court does not set law. What they do is they interpret the law if a case gets to them, or they are the final arbiter if a state overreaches its legal boundaries. So all Roe said was there are states out here who are trying to make this like this restrictive, like right here, and that is not constitutional. So you have to give at least this. It's not a law. It just said if you go past this, you can't do it. That's it. It's just a guard. It's like a buffer. It's not a law. It's them saying, hey, the states are acting out of control, and the ultimate authority is the Supreme Court. So you have to stop here. This is 1973. That's now gone. This is not like a law or something we wrote in the Constitution. We have the Supreme Court do it. Now it's been stacked and went somewhere different. And by the way, maternal mortality rates in America is 26.4 women per 100,000. We are the number one worst in the world in that statistic, followed by the UK at 9.2. 25.4 to 9.2 per 100,000 people. We are not that great. And we keep yelling about things like this is such a great idea, give it back to the states. Stats are going to get worse. Absolutely going to get worse.
Option ever.
Also, I just need to make a comment about rights. For instance, it talks about protection of rights, right? They have to recognize that it is a right in the first place to protect it. So, like, if I was to go and say that I had a right to, like, this specific land, for instance, which I would never do. The indigenous people own the land first. I would never do. But let's say that I pretended to try to say that this land was mine and that nobody else could have it. It's my right. It is my birthright to have that land. I can scream and yell about that all I want, and if the government doesn't recognize it, it's not a right. Our rights are protected on the only consensus that they recognize it's a right in the first place.
So because if the government doesn't protect a certain right or whatever, you're okay with that because it's the government, right?
That's not what I said. I said if our government does not recognize it as a right, why would they protect it?
And that's what we're trying to change because it should be a right.
Do you support death row?
I support the idea of it, not the way it's practiced or whatever.
Yeah,
Why?
Gina, hold on. Gina, death row is only
Whoa.
one or two things. It's either you're on death row and going to die, or you're not.
No, I don't support the way that they. I don't think that a person should be on
But
death row due to circumstantial evidence, or, I know that like 4% of people that's been on death row is innocent. That should never happen.
I like the idea of tantric sex, but I haven't tried it yet.
I can't. Travis is
I like the idea of rubber sheet night.
I might come up. I might come around to the idea of supporting abortion. It's weird, but I like the I'm open to the idea.
I think you give Travis more of a heart attack than we did. I'm sorry. You're my friend Jamie in this case.
I did not even have my hair in a ponytail. I had a hair tie on my right arm, and when that statement came out, it blew my hair back into this ponytail. I did not do it myself. It just whoosh, and just.
Jamie, give her the damn trophy for giving Travis the heart attack.
I'm so confused because what about the right to life? What happened to that?
It's like you just totally contradicted yourself.
I went.
It's not a contradiction.
I went to go see.
Yes, sweetheart.
So we can.
I'm sorry, Gina. You need a
I'm
hug. You've
against
been
abortion,
brainwashed.
but I'm totally
onward,
for
love
the
you.
death penalty.
So we can we all be on the same page? So I went and saw Jordan Peele's new movie tonight, Nope. And when you said that, I found myself at that very scene that I don't want to give a spoiler away, where he opens his truck door and looks out, barely and went, closed the truck door, hit the light button, went, nope. The worlds have aligned for this conversation of me going, nope. But I think it was more like, what?
Because I looked up the definition of right to life, and this is where I'm confused. So right to life means that the government doesn't have a right to take your life. So I'm confused.
Travis looks so disappointed in humankind. Can we get the next caller, please? Can we please get the next caller? Gina, your double standards ain't it, sweetheart. It ain't it with your double standards.
No, because what did people do to get on death row?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so your double standards. Let me give you an example. You say the vaccine should not be mandated, and basically what I'm getting for that, you should have a right to your body. You don't want that in your body, so you don't get it, right? If you don't want a fetus in the body, get it away. Swallow that
pill. Get it. Don't get a fetus in your body.
Okay, how is that possible with
FA? Your famous comment from Hell Baby's Live, where you said reproductive rights, then don't use your reproductive rights to have a baby. Which that one was perfect for me, because that made no sense.
Right? Don't.
Travis, are you screen recording?
Don't get pregnant. Period.
Okay, well then, no more.
Consent to a biological process that is happening that you cannot control. Do you think I rub my stomach, or Whoopi, or anyone in this planet rubs your stomach and say, baby, like the old couple on TikTok, and it's gonna magically appear?
You know what's funny though? When people were when Roe v. Wade was when it was just talk about it being overturned, there were people making comments saying that they weren't going to have any intercourse with men, and
that's happening.
Yada yada. And
that's actually happening.
We're like, thank you. This is what we've been saying. It really
Yeah.
took this to figure out how babies
You're
are
gonna bring
made.
that birth rate hella down because women aren't gonna take the chance.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay for
Travis,
your
do you
birth
have
rate to drop.
And
I'm still trying to catch my breath.
I've been wanting to, right?
I mean, I'm anti-natalist all the way. Like, let's just end this, right? Like, let's just no reproduction at this point.
Yeah, mandate vasectomies.
Yeah, I'm down for mandating vasectomies for sure.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, so I do not lose this. Hey, listen. I'm gonna do a quick reset so I don't lose this. All y'all come back. I'm gonna do a very fast reset. Come back. I don't want to lose this live.
Okay.